Hi, it's Katrina. Number 10. The giant egg. In 2011, researchers discovered a mysterious object in Antarctica. It turns out it's a giant prehistoric egg. The fossil looks like a deflated football, but frozen in stone. This magnificent specimen was once laid by an ancient aquatic beast. Researchers from the University of Texas used microscopic analysis to find out the true nature of the mystery object. Everyone agreed it was likely a fossil, but it wasn't until recently that scientists were able to confirm it 100%. They analyzed 260 reptiles and compared their bodies with the size of the eggs they produced. They then tried to make some guesses about the monster that laid the egg that was found in Antarctica. Based on their research, they believe the creature was about 23 feet long. The scientists were also able to determine that the fossil had a soft shell, meaning it didn't come from a dinosaur. The creature that laid this egg was more similar to a turtle, and so it was most likely an aquatic reptile. One of the possibilities is that the mother of the egg was a mosasaur, which would be a truly incredible discovery. Mosasaurs were some of the fiercest and most dangerous monsters that roamed the oceans during the late Cretaceous period. They could grow anywhere from 3 to 56 feet long and were like megalodons on steroids. The mosasaur lived between 82 and 66 million years ago. If this egg really was laid by one, it would be the first discovery of its kind. It would also encourage more paleontologists to start digging around in Antarctica. And if that happened, it would open up the door for a lot more potential discoveries on the frozen continent. Number 9. Mystery structure. It's always a little suspicious when something strange appears on Google Earth one day, only to vanish the next. That's what happened in 2015 after a mysterious structure was identified in Antarctica by a group of alleged alien hunters. They marked the coordinates and detailed the structure that was half hidden under the snow. But then, it was gone. The sudden disappearance of the unknown structure, which could have been anything from a hidden base to a crashed ship to just some rocks, immediately sparked outrage. Many people believe that whatever was discovered in the middle of Antarctica was hidden from the public on purpose, most likely by someone with the highest level of authority. What the alien hunters found in Antarctica appeared to be a line of doorways. They almost looked like individual entrances into an underground building. The people who discovered the structure believe it may have been part of an ancient alien city. Others have guessed it was a superstructure below ground, left behind by extraterrestrials, a hidden base once used for alien operations on the planet. Some have even suggested the structure had nothing to do with aliens and was instead a secret government facility. Whatever the case, it appears to be gone now. After the discovery of the mysterious structure was posted online, someone erased the images. They blacked out the structure on Google Earth like the CIA blacks out words in a secret document. Number 8. The Ice Pyramids. Thanks to Google Earth, images of 3 mysterious ice pyramids in Antarctica began circulating worldwide in 2016. The pictures show 3 pyramids in almost the exact same orientation as the trio of pyramids in Giza in Egypt. There are researchers that suggest that some ancient civilization, previously unknown to science, built their own pyramids in Antarctica. Some say it's the lost civilization of Atlantis, while others claim extraterrestrials were behind the pyramids. There are even people who say a rogue colony of Egyptians settled in Antarctica before it was covered in ice. But according to mainstream scientists, the icy pyramids are nothing but ordinary natural geological formations. One of the more grounded explanations is that the icy pyramids are nunataks. This is what scientists call the peaks of mountains that jut out from a glacier or an ice field. It's like a land iceberg, with only 10% of it showing and the other 90% hidden under the ice. Another theory is that the pyramids are artificial, crafted by human hands tens of thousands of years ago when an ancient civilization lived in Antarctica. However, this would mean that the continent wasn't even covered in ice yet, and it was once a balmy paradise where early humans flourished. Unfortunately, this theory doesn't work when compared to scientific research. The harsh truth is that Antarctica has been frozen for 34 million years. If there was a civilization here, they would have existed a very, very long time ago. If these really are pyramids, and they were created by intelligent beings, they've been gone long before humans ever evolved. Number 7. The Great Face. There is a great face trying to push its way through the surface of Antarctica. The face looks an awful lot like the mysterious face discovered on the surface of Mars, photographed in the Cydonia region. The face on Mars looks like an intelligently designed structure that's been covered in Martian dust over millions of years. It clearly shows what appears to be the face of an extraterrestrial being. In September of 2012, the same thing was discovered in Antarctica, with distinct facial features poking out from the melting ice. Those who passionately believe in an ancient alien presence on our planet have already connected the dots between the face on Mars and the face in Antarctica. The two faces look as though they were made by the same people. The only slight difference is that the face discovered in Antarctica almost looks like it's wearing a helmet, the kind of helmet you might expect to see worn by a space traveler. If both faces were made by the same hands, then whoever did it must have had the ability to travel back and forth between planets. Of course, none of this has been authenticated. The discovery of the face in Antarctica was made by UFO hunters who stumbled upon the strange formation while searching Google Earth. Blake and Brett Cousins, who have over 750,000 followers on their Facebook page, were the ones who brought the discovery to the public's attention. It was found in the Admiralty Mountains near McMurdo Station, but since no excavations have been done, we don't know if the face is a real structure or just a convincing pattern in the ice. What do you think? Let me know in the comments below. And now for number 6. But first, it's shout-out time! I want to say a big thank you to Chris Wilmore Dizon and the Anti-Tryhard for supporting this channel. Be sure to subscribe if you haven't already for more videos about amazing discoveries. Number 6. Hidden ecosystems. In 2011, scientists discovered mysterious blooms of phytoplankton underneath the surface of the ocean in both polar regions. Two completely unrelated studies revealed logic-defying underwater blooms growing near the seafloor in the North Pole and underneath the sea ice in Antarctica. These mysterious blooms likely support hidden ecosystems that scientists don't know anything about. To understand these curious ecosystems, we need to start at the beginning. Phytoplankton are small algae that account for roughly 50% of the marine food in the ocean. Without phytoplankton, marine life would crash, and there would be a natural disaster of unimaginable proportions. A phytoplankton bloom is when these algae reproduce very rapidly, leading to an overabundance of nutrients. This is normal, but only at the surface of the ocean. Because phytoplankton requires sunlight to grow, they don't typically bloom at the bottom of the sea floor where there isn't any light. So let's get back to the news in Antarctica. The southernmost continent is home to extremely nutrient-rich waters and huge phytoplankton blooms in the summer. But in the wintertime, the ice is too thick for the blooms to develop. New research has shown that bottom blooms are happening anyway, even in places where there's extreme surface ice. Scientists identified huge phytoplankton blooms in almost complete darkness underneath thick Antarctic ice sheets. Scientists also believe there is a secret ecosystem under the ice with large numbers of creatures feasting on the phytoplankton. The biggest issue now is that scientists can't exactly observe what's happening underneath the Antarctic sea ice. The whole place is still a huge mystery, but there does appear to be a lot more activity than anyone expected. Number 5. Ancient wildfires. Looks like Antarctica was on fire 75 million years ago. This took place during the Cretaceous period, one of the warmest times in our planet's history. James Ross Island of Antarctica was home to a temperate forest, and it was a tropical paradise when it wasn't burning. It was so hot that researchers have discovered evidence of raging infernos that burned the forest down and sent dinosaurs fleeing for their lives. The discovery comes in the form of charcoal. When ancient fires burned down forests, they left behind a thin layer of charcoal. That thin layer was buried in sediment that was later frozen in ice, and now it's been scooped out by scientists. According to lead researcher Flaviana Jorge de Lima from Brazil, the discovery shows just how common raging wildfires were during the age of the dinosaurs. Even in Antarctica, it wasn't unusual for forests to burn down due to extreme heat. But just how in the world did fires start on the icy continent? Surprisingly, Antarctica had plenty of ignition sources back then, including falling fireballs from meteors and lightning strikes. And of course, volcanic activity could ignite vegetation and burn down millions of acres of trees. Number 4. Abandoned expedition huts. There's a lot more abandoned ruins in Antarctica than most people realize. The very first structure built on the frozen continent was done so at Cape Atar in 1899. A wooden building was constructed as the first hut in the region by Carson Borcherevink's expedition crew. The structure was a simple hut, but it proved to be incredibly stable. It was the first artificial structure built on Antarctica, and it's still there right now. Even though the hut was only needed for about 3 years, it had to be strong in order to withstand the brutal elements in Antarctica. The hut at Cape Adare was the first to be constructed, but it certainly wasn't the last. Much of the Antarctic Peninsula, the northwestern tip of the continent, is covered in abandoned structures. There's the huts at Hope Bay that were built between 1901 and 1903. And on the southern side of Antarctica, beneath the Trans-Antarctic Mountains, there are even more abandoned structures. Cape Royds is home to the hut built by Ernest Shackleton and his crew when they were living in Antarctica between 1907 and 1909, and there are plenty of others out there. The only place you won't find structures in Antarctica is pretty much everywhere on the continent's interior. It's only along the coastline where expeditions left their marks. Many of the huts are even filled with old equipment from the early 20th century that the explorers couldn't take back home with them. All of these things serve as time capsules just waiting to be found. Number 3. The Pegasus wreck. There is an abandoned plane in Antarctica partially covered in ice, waiting for someone to rescue it. The wreckage dates back to October 8, 1970. A fierce storm had just blown into Antarctica, and the pilots of the C-121 Lockheed Constellation plane, nicknamed the Pegasus, had a serious problem on their hands. They didn't have enough fuel to turn around and go back to New Zealand, so they could only move forward through the blowing snow and ice. But without any visibility, the pilots of the Pegasus couldn't see where they were going. The storm was so intense that pieces of the plane's exterior were being ripped off and blown away by the frigid wind. Then, without warning, the Pegasus crashed into the frozen wasteland. The miracle was that all 80 people on board survived without any major injuries. They were all rescued and taken to McMurdo Station, where they were able to continue with the Antarctic research they'd planned. They were definitely shaken from their experience, but nobody got hurt. Only the Pegasus was damaged during the storm, which is still stuck in the exact same place it was when it crashed over 50 years ago. Number 2. Emerald icebergs. There's a phenomenon in Antarctica in which icebergs turn a brilliant, shimmering shade of emerald green. These jade icebergs are only found in Antarctica, never in the Arctic, which is highly unusual. They've been captivating scientists and curious explorers for decades. But up until very recently, nobody understood how the shiny green icebergs formed. National Geographic photographer Christina Mittermeier believes she may have cracked the case. According to Christina, the unusual emerald icebergs are likely created through a combination of 2 processes. First, the iceberg forms at the base of an ice shelf in the Southern Ocean. At the exact same time the iceberg is forming, yellowish-red glacial dust from the bedrock of Antarctica, rock from the solid continent underneath the ice, gets mixed into the formation. Glaciologist James Leah from the University of Liverpool described it as Antarctica's version of mixing blue and yellow paint to get green. There isn't anything otherworldly about the emerald icebergs. Instead, their existence is as simple as nature mixing 2 colors together. Number 1. UFO crash site. There is another crash site in Antarctica, one that's a little more controversial and mysterious than the wreckage of the Pegasus. Curious internet sleuths identified what appears to be a crashed triangular craft in the middle of Antarctica, covered in a thin layer of snow. It could just be a rock, but there aren't any other rocks near it. There's nothing in the area where the supposed craft was discovered except snow and ice. To make matters even more suspicious, there appears to be a trail leading to the mystery object. It looks like a skid mark from where something hit the ground and slid through the snow. Unfortunately, this is the only information we have at the moment. There's definitely something buried in the middle of Antarctica and is shaped like a triangular spacecraft, but we don't know what it really is. We'll have to check back in a few months to see if the object is still there, or if someone has secretly recovered it. Thanks for watching! What's your favorite mystery from Antarctica? Let us all know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to subscribe and give this video a thumbs up. See you next time. Bye!